questions on our account? Okay, next item on the agenda are delegations. Is there anyone here who'd like to address the board on any issue dealing with the city? Okay, the next item is item D. Consider passage of an ordinance amending the personnel policy to reflect the change made to the fire chief position, converted to a 40-hour per week schedule. Jim?
You know, the board voted to change the fire chief's position to a 40-hour per week position like the other department heads, and because of that, the wording in the personnel policy specified that employees of the fire department get this. Well, he's an employee of the fire department, but he does not get the same benefits because he works a 40-hour week instead of a 48-hour week. So his sick leave changes, the vacation schedule changes, etc. So what this ordinance does is make the ordinance reflect he is a department head, he's 40 hours a week, and how his is done. It reserves that the rest of the firemen, the shift firemen, are actually still the way they always have been. So that is the change. We use the wording non-exempt fire personnel, which means they are not exempt. The fire department head is exempt from FSLA. So the non-exempt members, except any administration staff, if they don't have any, will still be under the old schedule. So that's the changes that were made. There was one other clarification we did. There was a question came up about jury duty, and we've always required that people serving jury duty turn that jury duty pay to the city and they get their full city. I just added that last sentence just to make sure it's clear and not a question. It's been a practice ever since I've been here. Don't know why that was not really in there or somehow it got deleted through the years. I don't know. I know we've had 4 maybe employees serve on jury duty somewhere or another in the last few months. So we sort of got hit with jury duty lately. Alicia was one of them. So, you know, but I didn't want to make that change. So this is an ordinance, has to be passed in 2 readings. If you have questions, I'll answer.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance.
I have a motion to approve the ordinance on the first reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Is there any discussion on the ordinance? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Manus?
Yes.
All voted in favor, 1 absent.
Since one is absent, we'll entertain the second reading next month. Okay, next item on the agenda is item E, consider adoption of a resolution authorizing the city to execute an amendment to its 2017 gas supply agreement with TA. There, or Jim, whoever did it.
Probably gonna be me. Okay, back in 2017, we did a 30-year deal with TAC for pre-purchasing gas, agreeing with pre-purchasing gas. And for that, we received a price that was 25 cents off of our index price that we would normally be paid. So that's a good thing. Well, because this is a year-round agreement, we could only actually specify 200 decatherms per day. That's about 6,000 decatherms per month. Of course, that's summer, winter, everything. Now, our decatherm load in the summertime isn't but about 10,000, give or take. So this is a large portion of our total purchase. That's the reason we had to limit the amount we could buy under this agreement. Okay, so we did that, and it was a 30-year agreement. Well, there was a clause in the original agreement that after 5 years, that gets all remarketed. So our savings can go up or down depending on what the market does. So they're renegotiating right now of the price and the discount we'll give. What this resolution does is authorize us to continue this agreement. We had a right to get out if we wanted to. So what I'm recommending is to continue this agreement, and we're going to get at least something off of our index price. So we'll save some money versus actually buying it. We're hoping it's probably going to be in the 20-cent range, but right now they can't guarantee it. This gas market is so weird, it just is all over the place. But the resolution states they got to get it at least 5 cents off index in order for us to agree to it. And we're leaving the same 200 per day. Now, there also, as part of this resolution, it extends this agreement for those 5 years. It's already happened since 2017. So we're renewing for another 30 years. So we're extending the original agreement really to 35 years. So that's the gist of this. Now, this gas marketing and the purchasing and these pre-buying is a complicated financial transaction through, if you read this, you understand it gets a little complicated. Goldman Sachs.
But it is complicated.
It is complicated. Goldman Sachs, and they're the gas marketer, and then it's a financial agreement where they're pre-purchasing and agreeing to pay these wells for the gas, and everybody makes a little money in these things. And because you're guaranteeing that you're taking a certain amount of gas. Now, they've got 30 participants in this agreement. We're not the only one. This is just not us. There's 30 different gas companies, and we're a small one with 30. There's very large ones that are participating in this, and so I'm asking you to pass this resolution, which is basically authorizing that they give us at least 5 cents for renewing for 35 years. No, excuse me, 30 years from now, which will be 35 total from the original agreement date. So,
Will it renew, will it come up again in 5 more years?
yes, I believe there's another 5 year out. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a standard agreement. Every 5 years, we have the right to get out, we have the renewal comes back up, the whole works.
So in effect, we just lock in the price eventually for 5 years.
We're locking
Yeah.
credit.
And you're only, what you're locking in is market minus.
Yeah.
You're not actually locking a dollar amount,
Right.
you're marking market, our index minus. Yeah, our index is what we pay off through the 500 leg and the 800 leg of the pipeline, and it's always a long story. There's multiple price indexes you look at. It's normally about 10 cents lower than the Henry Hub, which is the one I look at every morning when I get to work and study. And, fluctuations, I mean, a prime example, yesterday gas went down 60 cents. Today it's back up 35 cents. And it just varies that way on a daily basis, so you never know. Of course, we lock in all our gas other than this gas. Well, actually, it's this gas too. The lock-in price always happens 3 days before the end of the month, is when it actually locks in whatever the market price is on that day. That's the way our original pipeline agreements are. This month, our gas to the customers actually is going down, almost $4 a unit. We were $12 and something last month to the customer. This month, we're $8 yes. So that's how much it fluctuates month to month. Of course, something helped us this month is we did have a hedge that we executed back when gas was cheap. So part of we had 10,000 units this month, starting this month, that we're buying for $2.65. So that hedge waters down the higher price gas, plus we've got this contract, which is index minus, so you average it all together. Now this month we still injected gas, we did not actually pull from storage this month due to our usage. Starting probably in December, we're going to start pulling from storage, and that gas though is basically the same price the market is, because of the way the market's done all summer.
Pleasure of the board.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Have a motion to adopt the resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Is there any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Phelps? Yes. Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
All vote in favor, one absent.
Okay, resolution passes. Next item on the agenda is item F, to appoint or reappoint one member to each of the Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, Industrial Development Board, and City Park Advisory Board. Mayor King has recommended the reappointment of Ron Moten to the Planning Commission, Charles McNatt to the Board of Zoning Appeals, Dr. Milton Sewell to the the Industrial Development Board, and James Arnold to the Park Board. It's also recommended that I'd like to appoint Marty Watson to the Planning Commission. He'll fill the vacancy we left by the passing of Bobby Ruth.
I make a motion we adopt, or rather appoint the slate of candidates that the mayor is recommending for the various boards, including the planning commission.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by no. Motion carries. Next item is item G, consider purchase gas meters and gas regulators for inventory. Carol?
We normally, on the 415 meters, we normally kind of keep just a very few on hand and then purchase them as we need them. But now that the market in that size meter, now that most homes are being built with the on-demand water heaters, which require a lot more gas flow, instantaneous gas flow than our standard residential meter. Those things are getting to work. Some of them are several months out. JA ordered a large number of those at their last board meeting, and they were told like 24 months. And so if you've got somebody building a house, obviously if you don't have the material on hand to be able to service them with a gas service as they're building that home, it could be 20 years till their central goes out or whatever, before you could get them as a converted over from electric back to gas. So what we're proposing to do is to look at our about annual usage, just over the residential meters, and then just put some number of 415s in stock so that we will not have a supply issue going forward. And I don't anticipate probably getting all these in one shipment. Definitely, they won't show up anytime soon, and we may even carry them over in the next year's budget at the rate we're going on materials. But as you see from the note on the bottom of G there, we were paying about $68 for a regular residential small gas meter of $275. They're now $147. We were paying for the 415s about $398, and they're now like $538. And these, they're going up quite a bit just as we speak. So what we want to do is just go ahead and get the approval to lock in this many meters at this cost.
These are all items that are in your budget as it stands.
We had money in there for meters and things. Of course, they've gone up a little bit from what we had budgeted, but there's money in there. And then as I said, I anticipate some of these running over into
So we
next
can pull it
budget.
out of the next year.
We have about 17,000 left in that line item right now, but I've been on some of these conversations too, and I don't see us getting
Get them before June
even
is
half
done.
of them before June.
I think
We
need
may
to
get
We
one or
need
two
one,
here
yeah.
and there. The big thing is to get the rate locked in. They told us if we issued a purchase order tomorrow, that they
They
guarantee.
guarantee us that rate.
I'll make a motion, we let this order be placed by the utility department.
I have a motion to allow the purchaser to place the order. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. All opposed signify by no. Motion carries. Next item is item H, other business. Discuss the COVID leave for the city employees. Jim?
Okay, back about 6 months ago, we came to you and y'all extended the COVID leave for the employees that have not had to use up to 80 hours. And we have extended that through the end of the year. So we're getting close to the end of the year. This is the last meeting before the end of the year. So we are asking, what does the board want to do? We have seen a drop in COVID cases till this month. Right now, I've got 2, 3. I got reports tonight. I got the third that's out. So we have 3. I think the 2 may be back now that have just come back from the utility department. But then I've got another report tonight. So it is still happening. So I don't know. I cannot give you the exact numbers of how many people use their COVID leave and how many still have a balance. I cannot give you that. But it's up to you whether you want to extend it further down the road or not. I know it's been helpful to the employees, especially newer employees that didn't have sick leave. So, you know, some of the newer employees did benefit from it, or some of the older employees, but for one reason or another, they didn't have any sick leave. You know, a lot of employees now have enough time because now the COVID leave is normally only 5 days. CDC recommendation is 5 days instead of, what, 14 total. So it is a little different amount of leave now than it was when all this started. It seems like forever ago now.
When you're looking at extending it, would it be possible maybe just to do 1 week's worth of leave as opposed to 5 days versus?
That would be totally up to you.
We could adjust it to meet the CDC guidelines.
Make it 40 hours instead of 80.
Right.
And still only for the ones that hadn't
And
used it.
only eligible for the people that have not already used it just yet.
That would be up to the board. And of course, it'll stay 80 till the end of the month.
Right.
And starting January 1, that's when it would go to whatever y'all decide to do.
We decided to put that in effect, or we put that in effect through March and then revisit it?
That
Would you want to go through?
we'll do it, we can do it however long you want to. Mm-hmm. You do it however long you want.
Are they taking 80 hours?
Hmm?
When they take off, are they taking that?
No, they're just taking what's required and coming back to work. Yeah, normally it's depending on weekends and different things, it may be less than 5 days, but, you know,
They could only need 3 work days.
yeah, they only need 3 work
But they
days. You know.
say that they still get to save them, so if they didn't.
Yeah, if they didn't use them, then they keep rolling forward, but at some point, I know there's gonna be an expiration date, those people that haven't used it, you know, will not get that benefit. But, you know, as I said, that's just the way, you know, they haven't been ones that got COVID, so that's, they're lucky in that way. Mhm. So, that's up to y'all.
I'll go for 3 months, I'll go 6 months. I'll have to do it more. Wait till March.
3 months.
3 is fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to renew the COVID leave for city employees through March and revisit it in March,
Okay, is that the 80 hours or the 40?
to 40 hours.
Okay.
That go there? I don't agree.
Goes to 40 hours January 1, goes through March 31st, and we'll revisit it at the March meeting, what you want to do at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. All opposed signify no, motion carries. Other business, if y'all noticed, we posted out on Facebook, and it should be in the newspaper next week. The city is going to text we've entered a contract with text.gov for text alerts. And simply what that is the city will be able to individual residents in the city can sign up for these text alerts, and it's be simple alerts like when we have a meeting, you know, for this meeting here, I think we texted out on this meeting today. It's when we have planning commission meetings, things like that. With the utility department, it could be very simple. We have a main break on 2nd Street. They go advise the public, or we have or there'll be a road closure, road repair, or you can come simply say they'll be paving Hill Street or Moore Street on such day, and those texts. And also the police department will have a similar one too, where they can post out, and also the fire department will do the same thing. They'll post so a person when he signs up will technically sign up for 3 different ones. The general, which is through us, and then the police, and then the fire. So we're hoping we get as many people as we can that will sign up and do it. As of now, we have about 100.
The general notifications for the city is, I think, about 110 as of today.
As of today, we've had that for about 2 days, so we've got about 110 people. that
Police
sign.
is 90, fire department's about 70 right now. So, you know, it is, we have just pushed out on the website this week.
This week, it's been doing about 2 days, all we've had on it,
And
about 2 days.
Facebook, and I think they're running something in the paper next week.
Yeah, Kendall will do a story on it next week.
Now,
But you can go on our our website, and you'll see a drop box, it tells you how to do it and everything else, and it's very simple how to do it.
now, the utility group will be a little different than the other groups. They're gonna be based on amount, that we're gonna provide them our database for utility customers, and it's gonna plot them on a map. So if there is a water main break or whatever, the people that get the notification, we will choose by circling an area. So we can make it as big or as small as we need to, depending on the type of thing. Now, that's the only group that's gonna be that way. The rest of the groups you have to sign up for, but that group, we're going to have to provide them the database, and it's going to be put on the map. So Alicia will be able, or Leah, or whoever in the utility office will be able to sit there and say, oh, we got a water main break in this area, let's notify this group of people, and they'll be able to do that. Boil water notices, whatever.
Where this, I'll be honest, where this originated from was off of boil water alert. We had and really, how the utility department does it, they carry it to the individual houses and go to the individual houses, they want to put the boil water alert on. Well, what happened, somebody, which is their right to do, decided to put it on Facebook, and then it took off. And I think the tech unit had like 200 and something shares. And we stopped the boil water, or sent the other letter out within 2 days, but a week later, we're still getting people sharing the boil water alert. I believe they were boiling water in Lexington. So we looked at this and we just figured we need to have some way to do this, and this text message would be instant. It's not going to change any way we're pushing our information out. We'll still do the same way we're doing it on meetings, through the paper, through Facebook. This is just another tool to do that. I think the police department, they're sitting down deciding what their protocols are, what they think is, what they want to push out. And I think that we're trying to look at, we don't want to bombard everybody with texts every day. We honestly want it to be something they need to see, because they have that right to opt out of it. And if we bombard them with too many texts, they'll eventually get tired of it and opt out. So we're trying to, I think the police department talked about it, the fire department will decide what their protocol and what their criteria, what they're going to push out, and what's not need to be pushed out.
Yeah. And as far as people signing up, we don't know who they are. All we have is a cell number. So as far as, there's no way for us to know whether Mark signs up or whoever, or John Doe off the street. All we have, other than utility. So, but as far as the other groups, we don't know who we're sending them to. They could be out of state, out in the county, could be city residents, we don't know. That's the reason we decided we had to do the utilities differently, because those are more targeted. When we have needing to notice this out, they need to be targeted for those customers specifically.
So how will utility customers opt in to this? Since I know they're not on the.
Well, when we send the database in and they get it loaded, everybody gets loaded that's in our database.
Okay.
Everybody will have, all utility customers will be opted in. Now, the utility customer has the right to opt out.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to, the utility customer, if he decides, I don't want to get these messages, he has the right to opt out. The key for us is what we have to educate the utility customer is, we need your cell number.
Yeah.
We still have a lot of them that still have the landline. We still have, so we need to try to get with those people to try to get as many cell numbers into that system.
Do we have a plan for doing that?
They're gonna put it on the bills going out, and I'm sure in the paper when
We'll
we
do it in the paper, we'll push, we can only educate people, you can only give so much information out, and they're, but we're hoping to do those ways to help us do that. But, and we're gonna look at it, we got a 2-year contract with them, and we'll see in 2 years how it works. We're hoping to get, a great percentage of our customers that will do that. The biggest complaint you always get here is, I never know you had a meeting, or I never knew you were doing that. If I said, well, it's on Facebook, I don't get on Facebook. Well, it's in the newspaper, I don't take the newspaper. So, we try to, so this is just another tool that we're trying to use, so we're trying to give people more options to get that information. This is one of them.
So on the text, for utility, if you got the addresses, then you can take that, the total database of every customer and divide up the text for just the ones in the area that you want to notify.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can circle O'Neill Lane, if we just want
Yeah,
those people out.
And then it can go just to the people.
Yeah, that one has a graphic interface where actually you draw the map, a circle on the map with your mouse. Click here and do a circle, and it will only do whatever's in that circle. The number of customers in that circle. It could be 10, it could be 4,000. You could circle the entire service area and send one to everybody if you needed to. Most of the time it will not. It'll be a small area, certain part of town, certain area that we know we got a water main break, people got low pressures. We know everything from there down the line will be low pressure. We need to notify them about boil water, whatever, and that's the way it'll be done. And once again, we're going to not bombard people with notices. We're going to try to be conservative, where people don't get tired of getting them, but give them information they need to know.
And how do you think you'll collect the cell numbers?
We get that information as they open accounts and stuff. The problem is, old accounts, we may still have landlines, which most people don't even have. But we send out periodically every year reminders that we need good phone numbers in case there is an emergency with the gas or water or something. Because we try to call if we see, if there is an issue at that house, but sometimes we don't have a good number, so we.
We've been using numbers for years for the reminder for the past due accounts before we do the turn-offs. So, you know, a lot of them we know are good.
On the, with our providers with the bills, is there any way to get a spot for them to actually to make it easy on customers? They don't have to do a lot. They're paying their bill, either coming in or mailing it, or those, that they could actually have a spot to put the correct phone number on the bill when they're paying. A reminder on the bill, please update your phone number. This is what we show. I don't know what you can do to the bill, Carol. I don't know how much they let us.
Well, do that, and you have, and then on the internet, you have that option. I'm assuming we have that option on the internet to go on your account and change it, to modify your account.
They can't modify it online, though. They need to call the
They
office.
have to call the office to modify our accounts.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, you know, if you're gonna mail in the thing or come by, if you could just put it on. But that's just a thought.
Is there an email address for utilities like there is for like leaves and brush and stuff like that?
No, I do not believe we ever set one up.
Because I'm
That's no
curious.
problem, that's no problem. to
Right,
do.
that's an easy one. I'm just curious of a way that people could easily, they see it on the bill, they could shoot an email of, here's the information you've got to have in there, your account number, and here's the phone number I need associated with my account.
Yeah, we could easily. do
What, you might not be able to answer this question, what percentage of our phone numbers in our system are cell numbers? Just know, that's it, some we just don't know.
I don't know, they told us, once they get our database, that they can run a query and see what, they can tell what is
So
the
they've got
real
some back
number and the
against
cell
that,
number,
Yeah.
yes. So they'll be able to tell us
Yeah.
what numbers are not good.
Maybe we just go after those folks and do a targeted thing. If you've already got mine, there's no reason to reach out to me, but if my neighbor doesn't have it, and it bounces back, then you could reach out to her to.
But, you know, I know some of this it has to come about upon the customer. The customer has to do something in the affirmative with us to change that number, so.
We're still working out the details for how often we get to update that database. That's
That's
a
a
big question, and we haven't got all
big
that
question with us
resolved
right
yet.
now.
So, you know, because we got customers move all the time and everything, so we may have your cell number at this location, and you may not even be here, or you may be across town.
And we're sitting down with him and trying to get the dates of when we can get an update on our system. So we like to, keep a record ourselves, be able to do an update on a regular basis, so. That's the question we're working
We're
with.
still working on that side of it.
You got anything?
Yeah, actually, I do. Chief Davidson wanted the board to be aware of a grant that's out there for the police department. Governor Lee, in his budget this year, allocated $100 million for police department, state and local, for crime prevention related funding. It's going to be awarded in the form of grants, so it's something we'll have to apply for. The funds are non-matching, so the city wouldn't have to match any of the funds. So whatever we get, we would get. We had to go ahead and send a letter already of intent. Now that's non-binding, so if y'all chose for us to, we could opt out. He's tentatively wanting to use the funds, the chief is, to buy new portable radios and in-car radios. The radios that we have now are at the minimum 10 years old, with the exception of a couple of radios that we've purchased recently. He's been replacing them as they've broken, but we still have a large number of radios that are older, and we've spoke to our vendor. If we were to ever go digital, we need to be P25 compliant. These were, but according to our vendor, the application or program to upgrade to P25 compliance is obsolete. So, anyway, the thought was we would use this, if we could get this grant money, we wouldn't have to burden the city with that cost. So, we've also reached out to Southwest Development District. There's a lady there that assists with writing grants. I believe the city may have used them. They're willing to assist us with writing the grant for us. And of course, there is a fee. Y'all are probably aware of that. I'm not sure what the fee
Comes out,
is.
right.
So that would be something. But the grant has to be completed by January 16th. So I guess we need approval to actually apply for the grant.
Do you know how much you're gonna be asking for?
I'm not quite sure. I think there's like percentages set up. It's already preset that you can get based on population. I'm not sure of those figures. The chief would probably need to answer those for you once he talked to the lady over at Southwest Development.
The great thing about it, we don't have to.
Exactly, there's no answer to it.
It makes sense that whatever you determine the total amount of grant we can apply for, include the radios and anything else that you're gonna need to purchase anyway, so no.
Radios are pretty expensive, so
You probably eat it all up.
he would probably eat it all up. And if we replaced all of them, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little more, but it'd probably be pretty close.
I make a motion that we allow the police department to move forward with applying for the grant from the state for the replacement of the radio.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. All opposed signify by no. Motion carries. You got anything else?
That's it?
Gary?
If you've gone down 45 going toward Magic Valley, you probably noticed some construction signs, utility construction signs up. We've cleared everything from the state approval and everything like that. R. Jones Underground has the project to run the water line on the other side of the road. Their start date is anticipating getting started on that project like January the 3rd. So that'll be coming up, and then, of course, we'll still be probably several months before we hear from the other ARP grant application, things like that.
Welcome, Chief Baker. Do you have anything?
No, sir.
No, I don't have anything.
Jim?
I don't have anything.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for asking.
Gary, you got anything?
I don't. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Mary? Michael?
Wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Pray that next year that we have more participants in the city that will come and visit us. We'll welcome you. You've been here for quite almost every meeting, so God bless you. And glad y'all showed up tonight. I want to also say that I'm very proud of the board. I'm honored to be part of it. And it's been a blessing over the last 13, 14 years. 15 years. So
We started together.
very proud of the department heads. Don't hear complaints out in the streets about them. It's a blessing. I'm glad to have you guys.
Thanks, Mike. Warren?
I'm simply gonna say ditto. Merry Christmas.
Keith?
Likewise, on the best wishes for Christmas and a Happy New Year. I had one question. I saw where they were pouring concrete for the new parking lot up there. Do we ever get any further along on the charging stations? No, are they working on those with that?
I don't know what contract they done with them when they've done anything with us, have they?
No, nothing with us. The last we heard, Brent relayed to us that they were putting in the infrastructure for the charging stations at the FHU parking lot. Now, I don't know who they were. I don't know if it's the electric company or it's Al, or Freed Harmon or what. But it was my understanding, though it was not shown on their plans that we received, Brent said that he asked, and they said, yes, it is being included in their parking lot plans to put the chargers on their lot up there. Now, don't hold me to that, but that's the last word I heard.
For the new fire chief, one quick question. When you put the sheet in there about the fire calls, the highlighted ones, were they the ones that we could actually perhaps bill for the second false call?
Yeah, there, Jim and I have discussed that, but I think there's two different colors. One of the colors is something internally that the department was using, and one of the colors is a billable call for say for that month. So,
Yeah, I think the one in the last column to the right, the two that are actually highlighted are the only two that get billed for, I believe. Don't hold me to that. But they show Benson Hall and Tyler Hall both being billed for one call, looks like. Because they have multiple calls at each one of those. And then there's also another Tyler Hall, so I don't really understand it, but it was not a false call, it was burnt food, and that can be the difference. You know, the definition of a false call is definitely being discussed exactly how to handle it, so, you know.
The Benson Hall, we might want to move that smoke detector, because both times the steam was in the same room.
That has been an ongoing problem for years, and it hasn't been resolved, so I don't know. You think with technology, there would be a way to stop that, but I don't know anything about fire. He does. The fire chief knows all about them things, so.
Well, like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Very good, everybody.
All right, is anyone else here that have anything they'd like to address the board on before we leave? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, as a utility paying customer in this city, I would like to know, if y'all would scarf up all the cell phone numbers, is there anything that's in the plans to like share those numbers, sell the numbers,
No.
whatever? That's the one thing that a lot of
We-
people my age are concerned
No,
about.
we do not, your information, we do not sell your information. Jim, I'll let you go with that one because you've been doing this a long time. Your information is proprietary information.
Yeah, well, there's certain information that is public record under state law. Your cell phone is not one of those.
Hallelujah.
So, from our standpoint, as far as our records, now, there may be other places that people get it, but it will not be coming from our records.
Well, that's why I have two numbers.
No, we do not do it. Since I've been here, I don't think we've ever done it. So,
No, we've never sold a database at all.
we never, have we ever been
Or given it
asked?
away, or given it away.
Have we ever been asked?
No, we never really
I
did
don't
that.
think there's anybody, because I've never been anything come across my desk if somebody's trying to want to purchase it, which we wouldn't do anyway. If we did, we'd have to come up here and have an open board meeting, and the city council would have to vote on it. It'd be a very public thing, so that's where
Well,
we
I
don't
grab
touch it.
all the neighbors too, all of them.
Yeah, we won't do that. Does anyone else like to address the board? If not, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and entertain a motion to adjourn.